And hello, everyone. I am your host, Guy, and I'm joined today with my co-host. And this is a special edition of the Unseen Journey. Today we are, well, Ashley, what are we doing today?
Well, I think we're getting to know each other.
Yes.
And for the audience to get to know us, because it's like, who are these people from Operation Red Wings Foundation?
That's right. That's right. So if you haven't done so already for the Unseen Journey, do us a favor, reach down there, hit the like and subscribe button. We're going to be coming to you every week with just a whole slew of cool guests. We had, let's see, a sleep doctor that we recorded an episode with.
Board member
from ORW Foundation and a couple other cool guests. And now today we're just getting to know our audience and hopefully letting our audience get to know us. So, Ashley,
where do we start?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go first. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to go easy, right?
Well, so you have an idea of where you're going to start?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
So I'm a GSD, a great soccer dad, also known as German Shepherd dad. And I know you own some dogs, so tell us about actually just any and all animals that are in your house. What kind of animals do you own? What are their names? Like, just introduce us to the non-human family members.
Oh, so you're going first with me. I see what you did there. That was a little switcheroo. I was like, okay, and then as you were talking more, I was like, okay, he's coming for me.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a fun one.
Yes.
So we have 2 dogs and a fish.
Okay. A fish. Nice.
So Fishy is a real creative name because he's my 6-year-old's fish. His name is Fishy.
Yes.
As they are. And we've had him for about a year and a half, and he's survived. Thankfully, he's a beta. You know, they can live through anything.
Yeah. Okay.
My parents were just in town last week, and my mom forced me to clean his fish tank, and I was like, thank you. I need that forcing because otherwise he's like 2 times a year cleaning your tank, But they live through. I feel like he was fine in there. So
yeah,
that's fresh in my mind because he has a fresh, clean tank now.
Nice. Okay.
And then we have 2 pups. We have Layla, who's my little princess girl. Okay. She's a rescue, and she's white with kind of black cattle dog spots, but we don't really know what kind of dog she is. I feel like she's maybe pointer cattle dog.
Yeah.
But she's just the sweetest girl. She was in the shelter as a puppy for 4 months, so she was not doing good. She was on the, the exit list. Yeah. And we got her, and all her hair was missing because she was just struggling. Yeah. But now she's we've had her for 8 years now, and she's beautiful. Wow. And she's the most well-behaved because she's a rescue.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not messing this up, right? And then Vernon, we have a wire-haired pointing griffin. Do you know those dogs?
Nope. I'm just a GSD over here.
So a WPG, he is known for being a bird dog, a hunting dog.
Oh, very cool.
And so real well known in the duck community. We don't hunt with him. But he's beautiful. Well, he's a purebred a-hole. Can I say a-hole? I don't know. But yes. Because I feel like he knows it. When you compare the rescue to the purebred, he's, he has papers and he's from a lineage and he has no care in the world.
And he knows because he's just oh, look at me. I'm the purebred.
Yes. But we've had him for 7 years and he's good. But he has a little bit of a story. So we got him because we had a dog just like him who was a rescue, who was my husband's brother's, who was leaving for Afghanistan. And so we kind of took him over. Well, we had him for 4 years, and then he ended up dying suddenly because they're the 100-pound dogs, and they get that bloat, unfortunately, sometimes, the stomach turn. And so my husband would take him to his work almost like a quasi-service dog. He would just sit in the car the truck and just hang out. Well, when he died suddenly, his work people all rallied around and raised money to find the exact dog. So that's how we have a purebred now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to throw one challenge your way, and then you get to start asking me some questions.
Okay.
I think it'd be cool, because I know you like to keep track of stuff. Keep track of how many random things come up that we have in common, right? So we both own 2 dogs. All the other animals are different, right? We both have a rescue dog. That's kind of cool. I think that's 2 things in common.
Yes.
Oh, you said something else in there that I caught that we had in common. I'll catch it back in a minute. But for now, it's your turn. I'm on the hot seat. What do you want to know?
Okay. Well, we learned a little bit about your dogs.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go, and we heard the other day in a podcast that you've been married to your wife most of the time through your military experience.
Yes.
So how did you and your wife meet?
Oh, this is a good one. So I started out enlisted, right? I was doing civil affairs, and then probably one of my best NCOs of my entire career when I first got started, Staff Sergeant Robinson. Shout out to him. Very common name, so there'll be like 1,000 Staff Sergeant Robinsons out there who'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's totally me," and that's cool. You can all take credit. It's cool. So I joined October of 2002, just to kind of give some reference. So we're talking like fast forward, like 2004 timeframe. So anyway, Staff Sergeant Rob was like, "Hey, bro, like you need to go migrate. You need to go be a Mustang. You need to go become an officer, right?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, that could be cool. Like leadership, I like it. I'm enjoying more money. I'm enjoying being enlisted." It was the best and worst advice that an NCO ever gave me in my career. Here's why. The way my brain works, I would have been a phenomenal like warrant officer. Like I could have totally gone that route.
Oh yeah.
I would have loved continuing to have been an NCO. I was, how shall I phrase this? My NCOs and my soldiers loved me as an officer. My fellow officers, I'm going to say, we had some disagreements in our perspectives. And I was usually high competing, and so I would normally find my way to the win. Anyways, so I was like, cool, I'm going to do this. And of course, I had the support chain of command, and so put it in. So did Green to Gold. I did a 2-year program. So I met my wife at college, Kelly. So we had found our way into a friends group, right? So kind of in each other's orbits. We had a couple classes together because I was going for like the hardest degree possible, communications. And okay, maybe not, right? Whatever. You can't fault me there, right? The military just said you need a degree. And I was like, cool, whatever.
What can I do? I like to talk, so let's do communications. That's right.
Fast forward, it took me, I used it my whole career, I guess, technically, fast forward, retire, and now I'm doing podcasts. So I guess I'm finally using my degree.
Here we are.
So what happened was, we're in our friends group. We're all kind of chatting. Me and the fellas, we had a rule, right? Our rule was you were allowed to ask any question and tell any fun fact you knew about the other fellas. So that if we were interested in a lady, she like eyes wide open would either be like, sure, whatever, I get it, stick around, or would run for the door. And we were never mad at each other, right? So somehow the question series came up like, well, how do you feel about the military? Whatever. So Kelly's from a small town not far from what used to be Fort Bragg, now Camp Liberty. And she said point blank, like clear as day during the conversation. And like, all the different ladies answered different levels of like maybes, yes, right? Kelly was very adamant. I will never date anyone in the military, and I will never marry anyone in the military.
Oh my gosh, she sure ate her word.
And I'm a computer. So I was like, okay, challenge accepted.
But were the other people, anyone else in the group of your friend group, were they joining the military or going the officer route or?
Yeah, my buddy Rob was, he did, he was doing like the ROTC. He just straight ROTC.
Okay, so not everyone, just one other guy. You and one other guy were doing the military route.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, really good dude. He's had a great career. fun fact about Rob, the year he made Major, he was one of only 2 officers in the entire military to get promoted double below the zone, not just below the zone, but double below the zone.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was actually frocked to Major because he went straight into Ranger Regiment after a career course. So anyways, good dude, good friend to have, right? And yeah, so Kelly was like, I'm not dating anyone in the military. I'm not marrying anyone in the military. So like I went, ninja style, and we just started kind of hanging out. And yeah,
You were like, I'm gonna change this girl's mind.
that's right. So
Wow.
I went like ninja style. We started hanging out. Like our thing, you're gonna love this. Our thing was to go over to my apartment, chill in the den, and watch animated episodes of Scooby Doo. Right. So that was like our thing. So fast forward, we had been kind of hanging out together for about like, I'm going to say like 5-ish months, right? I don't know, 4 to 6. So who knows, right? TBIs or whatever. And so one night, I went out with my buddies. She was just chilling at her apartment, and her roommates look at her and goes, "Where's your boyfriend?" And she was like, "I don't have a boyfriend." And they were like, hello, like guy?
Everyone else can see it.
Yeah, like, do you hang out with anyone else? No. She's like, no. They're like, is there some, like, you don't like him or something? She's like, no, I like him. They were like, okay, what's the deal? Like, is he seeing someone else? She's like, no, he's not seeing anyone else. They're like, okay, so he's your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, welcome to college. And she's like, no, well, he never asked me.
You gotta ask. You gotta make it official, or else that's how people get themselves in trouble.
That's a whole nother story. I'm going to throw the line out there. I'm not going to share it right now, but I'm going to invite all of our guests to come back to another episode where I will share that story, because that's a really good one. Yeah.
How you officially asked?
That's right. How I officially asked her to be my girlfriend. That's right.
How exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know what's more exciting, hearing that story or whenever I unveil my one dad joke.
Your one dad joke. Okay, what's your one dad joke?
No,
Let's hear it.
I have to unveil it now? No, John's shaking his head. I can't,
all right.
no.
All right, that's your hook.
Even
now,
though
you
it
set
does...
a hook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We know we're coming back for your one dad joke. All right, well, now our audience is like, well, we need a dad joke. So why was the calendar always sad?
It never gets a date?
Its days were numbered.
Its days were numbered. And they are.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, very true. So I know you were in the service. I was in the service.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't join too far after you. I'm March 2003.
What? Okay, let's hear this service journey.
Okay. Well, so March 2003, if you remember, you were just, finishing basic training and going through AIT. And
yeah.
So my basic active service date, my BASD, for those of us veterans know that, is March 18th, 2003. If you remember what we were doing on that day, we were like George Bush on the TV screen and bombing Iraq. And I remember, because I did I had officially started my journey in January of 2003. And I knew I wanted to go right away. I was not making good decisions. I was ready for a change. And my recruiter was, and I don't know if this is true, but my recruiter was like, your ASVAB scores are about to expire. Because I had taken them when I was in high school.
Oh no.
And I really didn't take them seriously. You know how the recruiters come to your school and they're like, hey, come take this test. Even if you don't want to join the military, you never know. And they were like, and you get out of class for 4 hours. And I was like,
perfect. Yeah.
Sign me up. So, but when I finally, years later, because I had graduated in 2001. So this is, 2003. And the recruiter was like, oh, we can see your scores, but they're going to expire in a week because they're only good for a couple of years. Then I don't know if that's true. I feel like I need to look that up, but whatever, it worked because he was like, you can either let them expire or just decide now and join. And so then I was like, fine, whatever, let's do it. And, So then I went to basic training March 18th, 2003, and all my friends were like, "What are you doing? We're going to war." And if you remember, we all thought it was going to be over and done with. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I still have, basic training. I have AIT and all that. I joined as diesel mechanic.
Nice.
Only because my scores were not the best because I really didn't care about the test at the time.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a great journey, and I knew I wanted to go far, and my recruiter at MEPS knew a sergeant major in Germany.
Nice.
And so he called the sergeant major of when I would be like done with training, and the sergeant major was like, "Well, we'll have a slot open for an MP or a mechanic." And I was like, I guess I'm a mechanic. I wasn't ready to join the police force. I just was not.
Yeah.
And so I got to my unit in September of 2003. And I joined with the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One. Shout out that bro life. And my unit, we were deploying in January, and so my unit was already in the field. So I missed my field exercise. I missed everything. I joined as an E1 nothing, so no rank at all, and deployed 9 months after I joined with nice. Only basic training.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
It was I don't regret any of it.
Yeah. So were your parents cool with you going into the military? Were they apprehensive? Like where was the family at?
They were like, yes, because as I mentioned, I was just not making great decisions, and I needed to get my head on straight, and I needed to get away, right? Changing your people, places, and things. And I needed to get away. And so once I came home, because I wasn't talking to them, I don't even remember why. We were like, I was an angst, teenager person. And they were like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "Well, I joined the Army." And they were like, "What?" And then so from that, like 2 months, from January to March, they were like, "Anything you need,
nice.
Just go."
Nice.
So nice. they were super supportive. Came to my basic training graduation.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom was quite the opposite. My dad was like, whatever. My mom was quite the opposite. My mom was like, look, I don't have the money. Like, whatever they're throwing at you, I'll get a second job. I'll match it. Just don't go. Like,
really?
Literally. Yeah. She had this conversation with me. And, cause I'll never forget. Cause she already had a full-time job. She was like, I'll take on a second job. Like, I'll get a loan. Like, I'll match whatever money they're offering you. Please don't join. And then she had a, friend who had, spent some time with Naval Special Warfare. That they were friends through work, and so I remember John took me out to lunch, and he was like, "Don't go," and I was like, "I don't understand." And we had kind of a conversation, because it was like you said, right? Like we're getting ready to kick off this war.
I was gonna say, was that part of it because of like the unknown of going as a male too, back then. I know it's different now for females and males, but I wonder if that played a role on as a male going in at that time,
Yeah. So I have two older sisters, so mama's boy, right? And then talking to her friend, right? His perspective was kind of like, you have no idea how busy your life's about to become. Like, it's not going to be your life for the next however long you stay in service.
Oh, and if that ain't the truth, looking back, it's so true. You are not yourself. You are a body.
100%. And so those were all interesting like conversations and kind of shifts and stuff. Because I think back, and it's always like, well, if I hadn't joined the military, right? Like where would I have gone? What would I have done? Right. And so for you, Ashley, if you hadn't joined the military, like if you could have lived out your dream, right? Like education's no object, money's no object. If Ashley could have been like, I'm going to go be this person with my life.
Oh, I know the answer to this.
Yes. What is it?
It's not a good one. I would be dead or in jail. 100%. There'd be no more Ashley.
The dream though, like, did you have any like Were you like, oh, I'd love to be like, I don't know, president of Disney? I don't, whatever. Like, did you have anything? Was there?
Um, I mean, it's so hard for me to think about that because probably for the 5 years before I joined the military,
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot emphasize enough. I was not in a good place. And,
Right.
shout out to I'm friends with a lot of people from that time and shout out to those people,
Nice.
but
Still
personally,
alive.
many of them are not, and many of them are in jail. And, it's just, I think that's what drew me to working in the veteran services field too, is I'm so thankful for my service.
Okay.
Even with going to war, it changed my life wholeheartely. I grew up in a good family, in a good stable home, but I veered off, to the far, far, far left. And I needed to get my head on straight. I needed to get
Right.
back to who I was. And honestly, to answer the question, I didn't know. I couldn't see my future because I was so lost.
Okay.
And so the military really, even though I didn't want to do a career, I just wanted to get what I could. And, 2 deployments squeezed in there probably were enough for me. And so after 7 years, I wanted my life back, to what that gentleman was telling you, because for those 7 years, I knew I was as proud of my service as I am and thankful for it. I knew I wanted more at that point because
Right.
I didn't have that vision and that goal before, where my service and, starting school, I had a vision and I had goals and I wanted
Right.
to get out and do more. So I
Right.
didn't have that feeling until I was in the military and then wanted to get out.
Interesting. Do you have one now? Like, do you have if you could, magic 8 ball shake it, do you have one now of what you would go do or be? Time doesn't matter, money doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yes. So I love helping people. I love
Nice.
encouraging people to find their happiness.
Okay.
And that's speaking to myself too, constantly chasing happiness, which not to say, we have to be happy 100% of the time, but, I'm such an advocate for mental health and following wellness because and the overall thing is suicide prevention. I have sadly too many friends that have taken their own lives, and it just, and I've been in that place myself, thankfully I'm a survivor. My means was not a firearm, and it hurts my heart because I know that feeling. It hurts my heart when people do take their own life because they see no way out and see no hope. And so that's my goal, is to save lives and help people find their happy.
I like that.
But I will say, I don't know how, I'm doing that now through Operation Red Wings Foundation. Yes. But I've always said, I want my tombstone to read, Ashley did this and this and this and this, instead of
Nice.
one thing.
Yeah.
But in the suicide prevention mental health world. But who
That's
knows?
cool.
Stay
That's
tuned.
cool.
Yeah.
So I have 2 funnies and 1 serious for you. So I'm gonna how do I want to sandwich this? I'm gonna start with a funny because you just talked about your tombstone. So years ago, I'll never forget this. So this man passed away. Don't know him. No clue. All I know is I had a friend at the time in the service who was a fan of the Cleveland Browns, the football team, and the man's obituary, because it made news, right, said that he wanted his casket bearers, his pallbearers, to be the starting O line from the Cleveland Browns, so that they could let him down one last time. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
What would you want on your tombstone?
Okay. So this is going to be funny. So my dad, I'm the youngest of 3. So my dad, his heart is timing out, right? Is a polite way of saying it. And so he was in the hospital last week, and now he's doing some inpatient rehab and stuff. Anyways, so then, having the conversation with my sister. Shout out to yeah. Having the conversation with my sisters and their husbands, right? One of the husbands was hey, we're all going to be there one day. Our kids trying to help take care of us and make these tough decisions. And I was I don't know. I might just go jump off a pier and call it a life, right? So what do I want on my tombstone?
Don't do that. Don't do the tear thing.
Yeah, well, Kelly quickly reminded me that my plan was wrong because if I was going to do that, we had to do it holding hands. Yeah. So, I I don't even know that I want a tombstone, honestly. So that's going to lead me into a cool story. So you know how we get given coins in military service? So for those of you not familiar, a lot of times, like if you do something cool, oh, there you go. Yes, exactly. You do something cool, or maybe you just help some people out, and leadership has these coins, and they can give you coins of excellence. So the history on that was it started with Ranger Regiment passing pieces of shrapnel metal or just trash metal during World War II, right? And it was kind of a way to be like, hey, I know you did something cool, and can't really like give you anything else right now. Here's this thing, right? So one of the things that I did, I'm going to say starting about the last 4 years of my career, maybe 5, was I decided like, hey, all these coins are cool, right? And there were a couple ones like I've held on to. And honestly though, like if I see a story in a younger soldier or junior officer when I was in service, I would pull out a coin that I had earned for something I saw in them. I would tell them the story for how I earned it, and I would tell them why I wanted to pass it down to them, and I would give them my coin. And I've given away coins that I earned in combat. I've given away coins that maybe I only had one of. I've given away coins. I got one coin from Division Commander, 82nd Airborne Division. I got a coin from, at the time, it was the 3rd Brigade, 82nd Airborne Commander. I've given away some like
coins. That makes that so special.
Yeah, exactly. So I've given away some coins where people would be like, no way you gave away that coin. The thing of it is like, cool, I can put it on my shelf. My kids, when I pass away, aren't going to know the story. It's going to have no meaning to them. However, if I can do something where I take a coin, it had a cool story to me, I can relate it to a leader, a current leader, or a future leader, because I've given some to soldiers as well. And then that kind of lives on, that kind of breathes into itself. Like that's more what I'm interested in. So my tombstone, like, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't even think I want a tombstone. Like, I think like, if they can find my body, I'll get it out of the shark that eats me or whatever. Just like cremate me or something.
Yeah.
And, ocean, mountains, maybe some deploying unit if you go back to certain areas like Iraq, Afghanistan, some places over there. Like, take me with you, leave me there, right?
Wow.
So yeah, those are kind of like some of my thoughts in terms of like, what does that end look like, right?
Yeah, I agree. I haven't decided yet. I mean, who knows, right? There's, especially nowadays, there's so many interesting ways a person can go.
Yeah, for sure. I had a cool mentor, Mike. Love that dude to death. Probably the best NCO I ever worked with in my career. I don't know. Mike, Joe, there's a toss-up. Both those guys know who they are.
Mike and Joe. Sounds like we need to battle that out.
Mike and Joe. And both equally cool for two very different reasons. Mike started my journey of mental health, mental recovery. So in that aspect, kind of saved my life. And Joe, oh man, I give it to Joe, right? Like Joe stuck by my side through some stuff, and we stood toe to toe with some battalion commanders and some brigade commanders, and threatened to go to some like 2-star general carpets, and he never left my side.
That means so much. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So Mike would always pose this question, right? Like, what is your legacy, right? Like, what is your legacy going to be? Because the material things, right? We can't take those with us. So what have we done? Like for you, Ashley, like really cool legacy, right? Like all the lives you've helped save and shape, all the lives you've helped like save and shape through ORW Foundation, and then also just outside, like in your own life. Like what an incredible and amazing legacy that is to have that like footprint, right? Like left on earth. Cause I I've never attempted suicide myself, right? Battled with PTSD, depression, all those things. I have though, even working with the ORW Foundation, right? Like, so like, I can't say enough good things about the foundation and all the people it's helped and all those things. However, what I will say is, it's kind of like when we were in the service, we remember a lot of people we served with. Some we don't, right? A lot we don't. We never forget the people who died in combat with us or that we lost to suicide. Mm-hmm. And even like since I've been in service with ORW, I can tell you that I've had 4 different people come through my individual male retreats who I've lost to suicide. So I can empathize with you. And I know the battle is still there and I see the battle constantly. So it's just,
it's hard.
Go.
It's really hard. Well, my mind goes to, because I know I talked about, means. And if we're talking about suicide prevention, I have to give a shout out. I serve voluntarily on a board here in Oregon called the Oregon Firearm Safety Coalition.
Nice.
Shout out. And it was so unique about Oregon. I love it because Oregon's known for being a pretty, progressive state, but we're very pro 2A because it's a large hunting area. So much like, pro gun states, it's every household has a firearm, which makes it from a suicide prevention standpoint very difficult because, so it's finding the balance because often if people have easy access to firearms, if they're in a bad place mentally and they choose to grab their firearm, it's a split second and they pull that trigger and they're gone. Yeah. And so we're working really hard to build relationships with firearm owners. I'm a proud firearm owner myself. We have many, I'm not going to say how many, but many firearms, many, easy access to firearms when I'm in a bad place. And so what we do with this coalition is having these safe conversations, incorporating firearm safety into suicide prevention. Nice. Much just like how, every time you pick up a firearm, I mean, we teach our 6-year-old, every time you pick up a firearm, what do? You clear it. You treat it like it's loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger. And the same in those sentences. Don't handle a firearm if you're, in a deep place, if you're having thoughts of taking your own life. Just making it a regular thing, we don't have to be scared of it because if we want to normalize it, the numbers show that it's normalized to have thoughts like that. And we're losing people and unfortunately losing veterans at, the highest numbers. So want to give a shout out to that.
That's awesome.
Proud firearm owner, but know when not to have it. Know when to lock it up. Yeah,
that's very cool. So I'm going to go really serious now, right? So who's your favorite animated character? It can be from a cartoon. It can be from a movie. It can be, I don't know. You tell me.
I do have a favorite animated character. There was a thing a while ago, a couple years ago on Facebook where you picked your favorite animated character and put it as your profile picture. Nice. And so one of my favorite things growing up, and I feel like we're close to what year did you graduate high school, Guy?
Graduate high school. Yeah, let's call that 2000.
Okay, I'm 2001, so we're pretty, pretty close. And so my favorite thing growing up was Saturday morning cartoons. Do you remember Saturday morning cartoons? Yes. It was the coolest thing. You'd run over to your neighbor's house and, go watch your Saturday morning cartoons. So mine was X-Men. I loved X-Men. I even, super nerd alert, I even went through a period of collecting comic cards.
Yes! Yes!
I feel like I have that book somewhere. That's so funny.
That's awesome!
But so I loved X-Men, so my favorite animated character is Rogue.
Yes! I love it. So we both collected comic book character collectible cards. So
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
And remember how it was where you would put them in a page and you'd collect the 9 of them and it'd equal one big page?
Yeah. And sometimes they had it on the back piece or they had it on the front. Yeah. Uh-huh. And then a lot of the Ultra Chase were these like super cheesy, like way overdone holographic cards.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. You know what? I wonder if I have the book. I
Yeah.
don't see it in my library. I wonder if it's at my parents' house, but I still have
Nice.
that book. I was so proud of them because I had the whole collection, like
Yeah.
the whole thing. And then at the end, there was like some other, like the battles, the battle cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
for sure.
nerdy.
For sure. I had actually had a participant come through one of my RW Foundation individual mail retreats, and he did mail services, like mailroom clerk, like all that kind of stuff in service. So not always the best convoys to be on because those are soft, easy targets. And in our early years deployed, like, the enemy would go after those a bunch. However, the guy was very gifted at drawing and artwork, and had done a lot of work on comic books and stuff. It was actually really cool to have him kind of come through the retreat and get to hear his story and then kind of see like his life's work afterwards, right? Yeah, that's funny. So I still have like I'm looking at it right now. I have an Optimus Prime in my office, and I still have like my old school like OG. I'm sure it has every bad plastic known to human. It's an Avengers. It's like this mug. It's a thermos, and it's plastic, supposed to hold hot stuff. So I'm sure that was healthy for me. And then the lid is a blue lid that you screw off, and you could open the little spout thing and pour, like your hot chocolate.
I feel like I remember those. Yes.
Yeah, totally. I still have that one. Yeah.
So what would your animated character be?
So I like a lot of times when I play like social video games and stuff like that, I use the tag Prime, right? And I always joke that like Optimus is my uncle. And so yeah.
Which I feel like is very telling, because even how much you share about mentors and people that you rely on for guidance and support.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Like you say, like you went through this weird kind of like phase where like you weren't making great decisions, right? Some way, somehow I found myself with mentors in all aspects of my life, just being able to gravitate and connect with people, right? That's like been one of my things. And I'll tell you, I had some very not good mentors going through high school.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah. One of them I very distinctly remember, without providing too many details, kept his AC on a recycle and drove a really old, like early 80s gold Volkswagen. And he taught me some interesting life lessons, sitting in the car, with the air on recycle, having conversations about like, maybe glaucoma or something. I don't know. But anyways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
People are weird.
Yeah, but Optimus Prime is probably one of my absolute favorite cartoon characters. I joke it's Halloween right now. I'm not good with scary movies or going to like the haunted houses or any of that stuff. So Halloween time, I always joke like Finn is like Scooby-Doo and I'm like Shaggy, because like he's a big German Shepherd, right? He's a 120-pound dog, but you'll see us like over in the corner, like right. Yeah.
Well, you're safe now, Guy, because it's November 2nd. And shout out to our listeners. We have gotten Guy through Halloween.
That's right. Do you watch scary movies, or what kind of movies do you watch?
Okay, so scary, yes, but not like the horror kind. I can't, and it has to be during the day. But like I have a cycle during the Halloween months. Like, so starting October, I'll go through all the Harry Potters.
Nice.
All the Screams. Scream is about like the scariest, it can, but there's so many of them. And then like the Hocus Pocus. So I mean, I like Halloween movies, but not like The Exorcist or I can throw a Ghostbusters and Poltergeist in there.
Okay.
But
so there's another one we have in common, because I like family movies we watched this Halloween. We totally watched Hocus Pocus 1 and 2.
So good, right? The second one. I love that one.
We watched all the Scream movies. We actually just last night just watched the new from Disney, the new Haunted Mansion.
The new Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
yes.
I thought that was awesome. Really like that remake. Yeah, so cool. Do you prefer to drive a car, a truck? Are you a van mom? What's your go-to vehicle? Like, not what you actually own. Like,
Okay.
What do you identify? Like, what is your go-to vehicle?
Okay, so I'll tell you this, and not to come out with the negative, but I've always hated sports cars. So let's just take those out. For some reason, I just don't like Porsches, anything with 2 doors, and Eclipse. Eclipse is my least favorite. I hated those. I would always judge people. Or like the Integras. I'm like, get out of here with those.
Yeah.
But I do personally love SUVs. My first car that I had in Germany, you know how, did you ever do time in overseas?
Yeah.
And everyone just shares cars and you buy it for like $300.
Yeah, you get like the most beater thing possible. You go make friends with a mechanic, which you were a diesel mechanic.
Diesel mechanic. And I was the 3rd shop level. So I was the level, like, it was already diagnosed. It was just come in, engine bad, change the engine, and then send the engine up to the next level. So
nice,
I am not the kind of like, what's that sound? That's the solenoid.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know one of those guys.
No, I'm not that. But so I had like a big old giant Mercedes, like a Mercedes boat, like a 4-door, one of those really long, you can't even see my hands in the camera. They were so long. But then my first car, when I got to Fort Irwin, so stateside, I bought Explorer. And I loved my Explorer. It was on 20s. It was like, cool, riding, rolling on dubs.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I went the sedan life, and now I have an SUV again. So I'm gonna say when I went the sedan life, I don't like going low in.
Yeah.
Like I like stepping into a car and sitting like you're on a chair. So I'm SUV all the way.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for those of you who have never been stationed in Germany, or maybe you're not a service member, what Ashley's referring to is literally there's these like car lots where soldiers, it doesn't matter, enlisted officer, whatever, like people are coming in, people are going out. They'll have these things. They're like 20, 30 years old with hundreds of thousands of miles, like the Adam Sandler song, like some of them you sit on them and the shock stabs you, right? The spring stabs you. We're not, when she says Mercedes, I want you to think like, beater.
I'll have to find a picture. But what's funny is the amount of time that people have them, like people do their own little like custom work. Yeah. So by the time I got this old Mercedes, like someone had put a system in it, had like speakers in the trunk.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay, so when were you in Germany?
Oh, that was 07 to 10-ish time frame, and I spent most of that time in Iraq.
So we had just missed each other because I left. So I deployed with them 04. Got back in 05, and I was at Spiker that time. Did you ever do time at Spiker?
Yeah, when I went to Iraq for that deployment, that's when I did some living in Department of Energy. I was in Solder City. Yeah. So no, I didn't.
Well, so Spiker was cool. When I first got there, it was nothing because it was early 2004. And then, of course, it's unfortunately nothing now again, but it eventually did get built up and was one of the, main bases. So it was cool towards the end of the deployment. So I left Germany in 2006. The unit, first ID was casing up and leaving Germany all the way and going back to Fort Riley. So I just missed you.
Yeah.
Where were you at in Germany? And what did you like best about Germany? Because I love Germany. Even though you were gone, I had a deployment in between too, but the time I was there.
Okay, I have a couple answers. So first of all, I like mid-sized trucks. Specifically, I have a Gladiator because I can take the roof off, take the doors off, all those things.
Okay.
Because I like to be able to
a true transformer.
That's right. And I like to be able to go fast off road. So I had a Tacoma for a while, loved it. Anyways, now I'm glamping in my in my Gladiator. So I had to answer that question. So now I got to go forwards real quick. So I'm gonna start with, what did I most enjoy about Germany? And what I most enjoyed about Germany, I think I'm going to answer in another episode.
Okay.
Because
we have another one for another episode too.
I know, because this has been such a good episode that I feel like what I should tell everyone right now, because they're all on the edge of their seat, is that they should reach out there and like and subscribe to the Unseen Journey so they can continue to follow the story of Ashley and Guy and all of our guests that we're going to have every week. Yeah. So on behalf of myself and the Unseen Journey and ORW Foundation, that's all I got. Thanks for joining us. What about you, Ashley? Yeah, that's right.
It's been so fun getting to know you, Guy, because, another quick fact before we wrap this episode up. For those of you that don't know how the staff at ORW Foundation works, we're all over the place. We're headquartered in Texas. I did join with the foundation when I lived in Texas, but so many of our team leaders, our staff, were kind of, all over the place, really. And that's what's so great about the foundation is we're all over serving veterans from all over. And so Guy and I had never met before this. I had heard a lot of great things about Guy as a team leader, who also, with your wife Kelly and doing the couples team leads. And so it's so cool to finally meet you and connect in this way, because then we really get to know each other.
I know, right?
Yeah. So cool. Okay, well, stay tuned to see how else we get to know each other.